Flub.
So here we are. We are at Wilcox Park on a beautiful Friday afternoon, and I met for the first time this lovely person who is a women's health
Nurse practitioner.
nurse practitioner. I was going to say physical therapist. No, that's me. And she's also a functional nutritionist. So, you know, 2 for 1. This is an amazing meetup.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to be here and meet you.
It was great to meet you too, Melissa.
Thank you. And it can be a beautiful morning to do this. But we are here to talk about constipation really quick. 5 strategies to help with constipation. I mean, we've all experienced it at one point in our life, right? But this is, you know, something that we can, you know, struggle with in a temporary sense or in a long-term sense, right? And long-term constipation is just not good for your digestive health. So 5 strategies. So first thing, what is constipation?
Yeah, it's a really important issue in women's health, Melissa. And when we think about constipation, we define it as either the interval between bowel movements or transit time or completeness of emptying. So ideally, we're having a bowel movement once a day. Anything less than that, we can consider constipation. And when we're having a bowel movement, it should be easy to pass. So hard, painful stools or incomplete emptying can also be considered constipation.
You know, and the other thing I think about too when you define it like that is, you know, what ends up being normal. So I know a lot of times when I see patients, they've been to the doctor and they say, well, you know, I go like every 3 days, and they're like, okay, yeah, that's normal. You know, but normal versus healthy. I mean, what's your take on that?
Yeah, and so it really gets back to that definition. Just because something's normal doesn't mean it's ideal or healthy. And to be having healthy bowel movements, you really want to be having at least 1 bowel movement a day, and you want it to be comfortable and not have to be straining or not have any symptoms associated with it, like bleeding or hemorrhoids.
Right, so important. So you know, we defined what it is. So what would be like your first recommendation? I know that a lot of times my patients might say to me, well, my doctor put me on Metamucil. You know, I feel like it makes me worse. And, you know, but I'm like, well, are you following the prescription? But, you know, Metamucil may not be the right thing. So how do we add fiber? And I'm thinking it should be gradual.
Yeah, I like to recommend a slow and more gradual introduction of fiber. And whenever we can, use fiber that's either directly from a food source or is based in food. So fibers like psyllium husk, you can buy in sort of supplemental format, and they are more food-based. You can add them gradually to your beverages or to an oatmeal or something like that, and then focusing on fiber-rich foods. So there are many foods that are really great supportive foods for constipation. I love to recommend flax and chia seed, but also all different varieties of root vegetables, leafy vegetables, really increasing the amount of color and variety of the fiber in your diet.
Yeah, so strategy 1 is add fiber, but strategy number 2 is do it in a natural food source, right?
Yes.
Right, and you know, I don't know about you, but psyllium husks, you know, putting that in some fluids, not always the funnest thing to do. It gets a little thick. What would be your second option if somebody doesn't like the taste or texture of psyllium husk?
Yeah, my second and most recommended option is mixing chia and flax into yogurt, oatmeal, or some type of milk that your body can tolerate. I tend to recommend this to my pregnant patients because pregnancy can really induce a little constipation during your pregnancy.
For sure.
And these food-based sources are really powerful at keeping transit time normal, and they're completely safe for all stages of life.
Awesome. Okay, so we got, again, fruits and vegetables, adding fiber, and then water. So that's one of the number 1 things I make sure that my patients are doing is being consistent with their water intake. What do you usually recommend for yours?
Yeah, so as a baseline, I recommend everyone aim to drink half their body weight in ounces of water every day, and be thoughtful about whether you do or don't need electrolytes. A lot of people benefit from adding a little pinch of table salt or a small amount of coconut water or some commercial electrolyte preparation to their water. You don't have to add that to every single beverage you drink, but sometimes we do need some additional minerals in our water.
Why?
Yeah, for so many reasons. When we're drinking, we need those minerals to facilitate transport of the hydration into our bloodstream and then into our cells, and that includes into our digestive tract. So being able to draw that water into the colon is a mineral dependent process.
So that is something we really do not hear about, huh? That is so good.
It's the basis of some of our other supplemental constipation remedies. For instance, magnesium is an osmotic laxative. So when we take magnesium, it improves the transport of water into the colon, softens the stool, and makes it easier to pass.
Guys, this is at the cellular level, right? This is amazing. Okay, so we got water. And then what about prebiotics and probiotics and postbiotics? I don't know. But there's, I feel like there was a heavy, focus on the probiotics, but now I'm hearing prebiotics more so. And I'm not even sure what to recommend to my patients anymore. So what do you recommend?
It gets complicated, Melissa, and if someone is dealing with a really tough case of constipation, I will recommend strain-specific probiotics that support their particular constipation. Outside of that, if it's a little less of a serious issue, getting probiotics and prebiotics from food is the best way to go. So eating probiotic-rich food, those are the foods that are cultured and fermented, like yogurts and sauerkrauts, things like that. Raw, of course. And prebiotics are simply that diversity of fibers we talked about when we were saying get a variety of different fruits and vegetables into your diet, because variety is the most important thing we can offer our microbiome so that we can keep our good gut bugs nice and healthy.
Awesome. That makes more sense to me. And then the last thing is, I can answer that is, adding exercise to your daily routine. So the GI system is mobile, right? So there's mobility that has to happen throughout that system. And exercise can facilitate that mobility. It also can help with digestion, and it can also help with your metabolism. So all of those things help for you to be able to have that daily bowel movement and keep things moving and going. So, 30 minutes a day, I mean, if you even want to split it up, you can do like 2 15-minute bouts of exercise, so 15 minutes in the morning and 15 minutes in the afternoon or evening, but at least 30 minutes a day for 5 times a week, if not every day. It's healthy for so many reasons, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could just be walking. So simple walking is so healthy. I do it all the time. I love it, especially on a beautiful day like today. But exercise is key. If we are so stuck behind desks or at the computers, we're just not moving. Our system slows down, it gets sluggish, and walking just absolutely, lights a fire into it. Also, belly breathing, just regular general breathing, taking big deep breaths are so helpful. When you take a deep breath, you are literally massaging your colon. So taking some big deep breaths throughout your day, especially if you're really zoned in on your work and you feel like you probably haven't breathed in 10 minutes, just take a deep breath and just notice your belly's rising and falling, and you literally massage that colon. So that and walking, just your hip flexors walking, also helps to massage the colon. The colon lives literally on top of your hip flexors. So walking is such a good stimulation. And the people who are runners, they know this. Right? But anyway, so I hope you enjoyed our 5 tips. I think I'm going to rename this, and we're going to call it Under My Umbrella, because there's so many things that affect pelvic health, and it's not just one specific practice like pelvic floor physical therapy. Obviously, functional nutrition and women's health, nurse practitioner is hugely under the umbrella of pelvic health. I don't know if she knew that, that was going to be, what we're going to do, but this is it. It's just on the cuff, off the cuff, I should say, at the park on this beautiful day. And we're so happy that you were here to listen to us. Take care. Bye.
Bye.